Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Everything Theater Podcast, the podcast where we talk about.
Everything theater from A to Z and all of the grace notes in between. Hi, I'm Vanita Zahn.
I'm Ellen Cribbs.
And we're going to get started. We used to start, Ellen and I, having a little schmooze, like, what was going on in the week. But now, in the in between weeks when we're not talking to our fabulous guests, Ellen and I, you can just hear us because we do a little podcast to the Chiquitas, right?
Yeah, our backstage episodes.
Yeah.
They're super
Yeah.
fancy.
Now, aren't we? Now, there's a little bit of backstory to our guest tonight. Those of you who've been with us all along know that Ellen and I met, became friends, and podcast partners when we were in the cast of Shakespeare in Love at Capitol Rep. And one of the other performers, fabulous performer that he is with us tonight. And it's Broadway's Kevin McGuire.
Hi,
Yep.
Kevin.
Hi. It's so nice to see you guys.
We were saying if only we could all be together. I'm moving the camera around here because I want to get a shot of us all so I can put it up on our website. There we go. Oh, Ellen get a good pose. Good. We all want to hug each other.
Yeah. Yeah. Because when every show I've ever been in my entire career, which is long, 42 years, the cast becomes part of your family. And I think that's the most wonderful thing about theater for me. And I think that then when that just disappeared, it's terrible. It's terrible.
Kevin, it's interesting. It's something Ellen and I spoke about, and we put it out onto our Facebook page. And we're going to be, talking about what our viewers, our listeners responded. But we were talking about relationships, a particular relationship that may have come out of a cast you were in. And do you have any one in particular that stays in your mind that perhaps was life-changing, became a friend forever?
Yeah, David Kenner in Red at Capitol Rep. We had a real bond, like that was real. I mean, I think we were both experiencing similar things in our lives when we started the rehearsal. And so we had kind of I guess I would say trauma bond. I don't know how else to say that. And it was just the two of us and Maggie, of course, and Ashley, who was the stage manager. But it was a very intense piece of theater, as you know. And I think that we forged a great friendship. As a matter of fact, he is like the only person that I see in New York. He's the only person to come to my apartment. He's the only and we chat and sit and make dinner and we get tested and we wear a mask. And I see him 2 or 3 times a week.
Wow.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and he's great. And he runs a theater. He's a co-founder of the Wheelhouse Theater here in New York. And of course, they're dark. So we talk about, we really have a real, I mean, of course, I'm old enough to be his grandfather, but that's fine. He doesn't seem to mind.
But it's the spirit. And before I let the moment pass, 2 things. When you referenced Maggie, for those who aren't familiar, it's Maggie Mancinelli Cahill, the producing artistic director for Capitol Rep, where we are all bonded through. And I think I can speak for Ellen and say, the next time you see David, please give him our best. Sharing the stage with him is a delight.
I will. I will. He was also in Shakespeare in Love.
Yeah.
That's the only other show that I did with him at Capitol Rep. So that was fun. That was special.
So, Kevin, what are you doing with yourself?
Well,
How do you entertain yourself now?
That's a good question. What I realized once I got back to New York from Albany, from the Irish and how they got that way. And after a couple of weeks, I realized that my entire life has been structured around getting to the theater at 7:30 or 7 or whatever time half hour was, and for years. And that just evaporated. So I realized I had to like actually really structure my time and like force myself to have projects and things. I mean, I had to like actually get up, and I started meditating. So I would like meditate for 20 minutes. And then I thought, like, what's the most productive things that I can do by myself in my apartment? So I bought Moni Yakim's movement class with the 3rd year at the Juilliard School, and he also taught me in the 70s. And I do that 3 times a week. It's a 2-hour movement class, and I do it in my living room. If anyone videotaped me, they would absolutely put me away into an insane asylum, because
Oh,
it's
Ellen, if only we could get a GoPro tucked into the corner of his living room.
yeah. I am learning. I cut Lear, and I'm learning it.
Oh.
I'm learning King Lear, because damn it, someday, of course, by the time I get to do it, I'll be so senile I remember a word of it. I'll be like, but it gives me something to do. And I skate in the winter since October. I skate at Bryant Park.
Really?
Aw.
Yeah. And the building I live in has a pool, so I go swimming. And I've tried to not, and I'm cooking. I'm experimenting with cooking because it's just me. So if it gets, this is not a good time to be single, by the way, just FYI. I know that neither one of you are, but it's a terrible time to be single, because I mean, I'm literally here by myself 95% of the time. And, you know, I've developed an alternate personality that I can talk to, and that's fun, you know.
Which character, Kev?
I
Which
don't know.
character?
It's sort of a combination of everybody, but mostly it's probably Ebenezer Scrooge.
Okay, before or after the visitations?
Before, and then I morph into the visitation and I become nice. And I say, it's okay, Kevin, everything's all right, everything's fine. And there's some TV stuff happening now.
Yeah. And talk to us. Are you auditioning?
Yeah, I've had like 3 auditions in the last week, and I've done some voiceovers.
Yeah.
I've done 3 voiceovers, but yeah. So I mean, I think that the theater's not going to be happening until maybe the fall of 21. Maybe, if we're lucky. I think that, I mean, I have a lot of friends here who think they're going to turn a switch and then it's all going to be okay. And I don't know if that's true, because as we know, the theater, certainly in New York, relies on tourists. And I don't know if the tourists will come back, you know, in droves.
You know, let me jump in. I was speaking with a friend who has a theater, who's got some good friends who play, you know, they're pit musicians in the city. And what they're hearing is 2022.
Yeah, that's terrifying. I mean, it's, first of all, the longest I've ever gone without working by far. And it's the longest I've ever gone without a paycheck by far. And, you know, I mean, I understand that the theater is not essential, but I think it contributes an enormous amount to our lives. And you know, I really believe that. And I hope that they can sustain us through this, you know, kind of mess. But
if you had the ear of those who were making decisions, because if you had the ear of those who were making decisions, what would that soliloquy sound like to encourage them, to move them, to help the industry?
I think I think until we are all vaccinated and and the vaccination we realize is successful and we do achieve herd immunity and there's no fear of being sick, I think I would suggest gradually opening back the theaters in New York. I wouldn't just. I mean, I have friends, as I said, who just feel like they can turn a switch on and everything's going to be great, like exactly like it was. That is not going to happen. And I think a place like Albany, and regional theaters would be more successful to open sooner because, first of all, the houses aren't so big. Secondly, their audiences live in town. I mean, I worked at Jiva. The people from Rochester come to the shows at Jiva. The people in Albany come to the shows in Albany. I mean, it's not a big tourist town.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And I think that makes a huge difference. They feel safe, they feel whatever. I don't see a lot of people saying, come on, kids, let's get on the plane and let's get to New York and see those 5 Broadway musicals that we love so much. I don't, that's the thing that worries me the most.
Are
But
you
what I
ready?
would say is try gradually,
Yeah.
make sure that the vaccine works, make sure that we are in a place where people can feel safe. And I think that I would say the producers get those air vacs in those theaters, get some circulation in those theaters. It's always been terrible. And I I don't know. I don't think they need to do anything with the seating, but I think they need to do a lot with the air.
Do you know if they are? Is anybody making those investments?
No, I don't think so. I wish they would, instead of complaining about the fact that nobody has anything to do. I think that they should be working on. I think that the Schuberts and the Niederlanders and all these producers should be working on real solutions to, like, health solutions,
Yeah.
like air filtration systems and things like that. Because even when this thing's gone, something else could be coming down the pike. You never know what's going to happen.
Use this as an opportunity for tomorrow. Kevin, what about virtual? Ellen has done some, I've done some. Does that hold any interest to you?
No.
Okay.
No, I don't. I can't do it.
How come?
I could do a monologue, maybe, but I cannot act with someone on a screen. I can't figure out. I don't know what's going on. I can't get any sort of visceral, like, anything going, and it's tough.
Are you watching any of it?
Yeah, I do watch it, and I always think, I mean, I think, like, singers sometimes who do, like, things, that's enjoyable, but like a play, like, with scenes, I don't know. I don't think it works.
Well, there's such a disconnect, right? Because you have the camera and then you have your scene partner off on the side, and
Yes.
you can't really look at your scene partner, and you're not even in the same room. Yeah.
And they're always reading, so everybody's like this.
Yeah.
I mean, you see the top of everybody's heads, and I get that. I get that it's good. It's good to be relevant. It's good to stay relevant, and it's good to keep doing things. So that's great. But I don't know about watching it. I think it's wonderful for the actors, maybe, but I think that there's a great need for people to feel relevant. And my friends who, the more successful they have been, the more sort of freaked out they are about all this. I mean, they're very worried that when we get back to doing it, that people will go, who the hell is Brian Stokes Mitchell? We've never heard of him, because it's been a year and a half or 2 years. But I don't think that's going to happen. But, I think that we should take this opportunity, casting directors, producers, crew, technicians, designers. I think we need to take a look at the structure of this business, and it's definitely inflated. I mean, the fact that some of these publicity houses have like 100 employees, Do they really need that? I don't know. I mean, I'm not complaining. I'm just saying it's so expensive to put on a Broadway musical that maybe it doesn't have to be. Maybe there can be a way of looking at the finances of it. I know that they're going to be talking to the unions.
Yeah.
I
It's
mean,
always on our backs, right?
it will end up on our back. They will continue to do the same things that they've been doing. They'll continue to pay through the nose for some, fancy schmancy person to do whatever in their 75 employees. And then the actor who's starring in the thing gets, equity going, yeah, they'll do it. I don't know.
Ain't that the truth?
Yeah. I mean, and it's not right, but it's just the way it is. Because people want to be on stage. People want to act. People who have it.
We know, listen, there's a company up here where the actors don't get paid, but everybody else does. It's not a real pro house. And I always say, well, why are you doing this? I mean, they're making the money on you. Well, because I want to. Yeah, but you're valuable. You're worth something.
Yeah.
Anyway, all right. I'll climb off my high horse and I see Ellen's face. She's agreeing with me. But
yeah.
Kevin, you went to some auditions, you said, for TV. Tell us what that's like now. I mean, social distancing, testing, masking. Give us a sense.
Well, you do it online.
Ah.
Like I did it here. I've turned my second room into a little studio.
Yeah.
Because I'm doing a little teaching at the University of Miami and whatever. But I've just turned it into this. I've got a ring light. Who knew to do these things? I have so I have David. I read for David. David reads for me.
Oh, great.
He stands on the other side of the ring light and says the lines, and we put it on my either iPad or phone, depending on what they want, and I do the scene with David looking to just off to the left of the camera, and then I send it in, and then they send it to everybody, and then they call back, and then they don't, or whatever.
Do you think that's going to be the new trend? Like even when things start to go back to normal, that they're going to stop bringing actors in and just say, submit your video?
I think that's true. I think that's what's going to happen. I think that they're going to decide who they want to see. And I think the first rounds are going to be on video always. And then they'll bring people in. I went to one commercial audition in, I'm going to say early September. And it was the only audition I've ever been to in my entire life where they were way more nervous than I was. They were very nervous. They were like, Kevin, do you feel comfortable? I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. I mean, they were like literally 15 feet away.
Yeah.
I said, I'm good. They're like, okay, if you want to wear your mask, we prefer if you didn't wear your mask. But if you want to wear, I said, well, what kind of an audition would that be? I mean, I'm going to in a mask. I mean, you can't even see me. And they were like, well, but you can. We just want to give you that option. The woman is like taking things off the table like little props for the audition, and she's sanitizing them like crazy. And I'm like, no, I'm good. I feel okay. I feel safe. I feel like I didn't come anywhere near anybody out in the waiting room, and I'm very happy to be here. And they were a wreck.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah,
but I suspect that they worry about lawsuits.
Yeah.
Yeah, liability.
I mean, if I went in there and auditioned and was infected, I mean, that's not good. They would shut them down for sure. Mm-hmm. So they were, but I don't think I've ever been to an audition where I felt much more secure than the people. It was a very weird, like, vibe. I was like, God, they really care about me. No, they actually care about themselves, but it feels like they're caring about me, So, yeah, I mean, I'd love to pick your brain, guys, about what you're doing up there, but I know we don't have a lot of time, and I'm talking my face off here, so
we're loving it.
Okay. Yeah. I mean,
we're loving it. By the by, I can tell you, we'll remind everybody, you can find us now on Instagram, Everything Theater. You can find us on Twitter, Everything Theater. I will post our picture that we took tonight on there, and we're trying to keep up with stuff. So the things that you're sharing, they're interesting, and I think these are conversation starters, don't you think, Ellen? For others. So there will be some auditions, and how do you mentally gear yourself up to go in the time of COVID? Did you approach it the way you always would, Kevin, or did you have a little like, gee, I wonder if they're going to be, socially distant here? They're going to be watching out for me. Do I have to sign my life away? I got to get my hair done. You got to sign in, and a phone number in case, God forbid, somebody got sick and they need to contact trace and they take your temperature. I'm sure people are writing plays about this stuff too.
I hope so. I hope they are. But I mean, I was thinking the other day, I was like about to make dinner and I realized I didn't have any butter. So I thought, oh God, it's a life or death situation, whether I'm going to go to the store and get butter or not. I mean, I'm like, is it worth it? Can I do this without butter? No. I can't really make this without butter, but do I want to go die to get some butter? I mean, this is where we are, and it's terrifying.
But we have these conversations in my house, and I suspect you do as well, Ellen.
Yeah, we don't go anywhere. Yeah.
No, and then everything is fraught with something, right?
Yes.
Every decision you make. Do I walk near this person? Do I not? Do I? At least in the city, getting groceries delivered is pretty easy, isn't it?
It is, but when you're in the midst of making something and you don't have it, I could actually just walk right around the corner to Whole Foods. But it's like, shoot. But and then ultimately you go, yep, it's worth it. I'm gonna get my little hand sanitizer out. I'm gonna get my little mask on, and I'm gonna put my boots on. I'm gonna go do it. And I'm gonna come back with butter. I just this is it's interesting. I can't wait for two things. One, I can't wait to say to a waiter, can I look at the wine list, please? That would be lovely. And I can't wait to get a massage.
Yes.
Oh gosh, yeah.
My back is hurting.
Right.
I don't think that it's healthy to not be touched for a year.
Yeah.
It's unhealthy.
Yeah.
For human beings. And I'm trying very hard. I mean, literally, I'm on the 42nd Street going, hi, want to touch me? No, I'm not.
Come on, doesn't Kevin
touch me?
Right. Won't David give you a hug?
No, I would love to have a hug. But I mean, I just think that they say it's very unhealthy for babies, but it's unhealthy for adults too.
Come on,
let's face it.
Ellen, let's group hug.
We're going to have a group hug.
Oh.
Yeah, but I mean, it's and the amount of people that are, there's a food truck that comes around the corner, and I'm a very lucky guy, because in December of 2019, I applied for my pension, and I started getting my pension. I probably shouldn't say this. Who cares about my finances? But I started getting it, and it's saving my life.
Yeah.
Completely.
That's it's a double whammy, I think, for performers. A lot of people don't realize that a lot of performers work in the service industry, in restaurants and the like, in between shows.
Yeah.
So not only do you not have a show, but they don't have that other industry where they would normally be, even office work.
Yeah.
Kevin, have you heard of, do you have a lot of friends who have moved out of the city because they couldn't sustain staying there?
Absolutely. I think there's been a mass exodus. I have a lot of friends who are teetering on, like, my age, some younger, my students, a lot of younger people who just couldn't do it, couldn't pay $2,500 a month rent, with 25% of outdoor dining, whatever they're doing. The problem that most people are having is insurance. I mean, I have to have insurance. My insurance ran out actually yesterday, the 31st of January. And I'm going to sign up for Obamacare, I think on the 14th or 15th, but I'm on Medicaid for the next 2 weeks. I have it for the month, but so people are trying to figure things out. Equity has to deal with like a subsidy thing. I don't know. We got to work this out.
I think the thing people don't, if you're not involved in equity, you get your insurance based on how many weeks you work. So you can qualify, and that's great. You've got your insurance, but nobody's working. So equity's model has fallen apart. And I just saw something from them about Cobra. So, yes, they're working towards it because nobody expected it to last this long. And we're not moving out of this so quickly.
You know who I think did? Philip. Maybe Maggie, but Philip definitely. Philip Morris. And when I was in Albany, he was like, I think this is going to be a while. And I said, what do you mean a while? He said, well into 2021. And I was like, what? I mean, I think we thought we were closing for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I mean, when we closed the Irish.
Oh.
Which was pretty wonderful, by the way. And I could not be more grateful that I actually had a job at the time this happened, just luckily, for unemployment, for, if I hadn't had that job in the Irish, this would not be happening. And, we have lives, we have bills, we have rents, we have, all kinds of stuff. I mean, life is expensive.
Yeah.
And it's just for the grace of God. I mean, I'm so grateful. So grateful. When I see my friends are going through awful times. I mean, they've been in 4 Broadway shows, and there's a food truck handing out food. It's awful.
And I don't, look, everybody, there's all kinds of suffering, but I really don't think in general the public understands how devastating this has been to performers, to people in the arts.
Yeah.
So Kevin.
Yes.
And in about 2 minutes, Ellen's going to be grilling you. Let's see, Ellen. Yeah, I've got an eye on it. All right, I'm going to ask one question, then Ellen goes.
Yeah, go.
What are you waiting to be back on? So what do you want to do? If we waved the wand and said, okay, Kev, we've got a cast, everybody's all right, you can hug, and we want you. What show?
I think I would want to do Juno and the Paycock.
Why?
Play the captain.
Wow, I didn't see that coming. Did you?
No.
Yeah, I love that play, and I loved that part since I was little. I think he is a mess. He makes every mistake you can make. He's such a lovely man. He's such a loving man, and he's so damaged and so hurt. And I wouldn't mind taking a stab at him. And the last scene just rips my heart out. I love it. So that's what I would do. Not to mention Lear, but I also am really anxious to get back to the Irish and how they got that way, which I think is going to happen. When I think because it should. We only did 3 performances. We rehearsed for 5 weeks and teched the whole thing, and then we just opened and closed.
So before I got to jump in, that's me. I'm the timekeeper and the mouth here. Before I'm watching the clock. Ellen's got a hold. She's got stuff for you. So
okay,
Ellen.
Great.
So Kevin, this is the last segment of the show called the Close Up, and it's just some rapid fire questions all about you. So are you ready for your close up?
I am.
So what was the moment, Kevin, in your life that you just knew you had to do theater?
at the St. Mary's School in Hoosick Falls in first grade in the Christmas play. I played the Christmas mouse, and I got a laugh.
And what did your family think when you said, "I'm going to pursue theater. This is what I'm going to do"?
They sort of knew. They were not shocked. I mean, they had actually lived with me. As my mother said, "I've lived with you your whole life. I get it. I understand. You are who you are. I get it. You are that person for sure." You know, to me, one of the greatest tonics and of all time is laughter in a theater. I mean, it's just the best thing ever.
Yeah.
When an audience bursts into laughter, it's just the best thing. It soothes your soul, my soul.
Yeah. And I would be remiss if I didn't ask you, if our listeners do not know, Kevin has quite the history with Les Miserables. Can you tell us a little bit about your history with that show?
Yeah, I mean, I was cast in the show in 1987. I was the bishop and Legley on the barricade. Everybody played 30 parts, you know. I didn't know it at the time, but it turns out it was like the Hamilton of the 20th century. I mean, it was huge. And I just thought, oh, well, I've got a job. It was the most exciting thing because I think the show is so beautiful and the show has so much to say. And the music is gorgeous. But I rolled along and I did Valjean and I did everything and they sort of moved me around and I was the dance captain and I was the this and I did just about everything, which is why my pension's so nice. One of the reasons. That Secret Garden and Phantom are the reasons that my pension's so good. But I had a fantastic time doing Les Mis, and it was an honor. And I ended up assisting Trevor and John in things, who are the directors of Les Mis. And I think that they realized that I could direct. I don't know how they knew that, but those Brits are pretty clever. And they sort of picked me out of the thing and asked me to be the dance captain with no dance, you know. And I try so hard to always be a team player and always be supportive of everything that's going on in the process of putting a play on, of putting a show on, and respecting everyone and respecting the producers and the director and the money it takes to do anything and how valuable that is. And it's paid off, you know. I mean, they always say nice guys finish last, and maybe not always, you know. I don't know, but I think that that's a community and the cooperative spirit of it, and I think that was really, really important in Les Mis for me. And I think that I have 3,000 Facebook friends, and 2,000 of them I was in Les Mis with. You know.
Well, yeah. Well, I think I speak for Benita as, you know, two people who have worked with you in a production. That is very evident in your work, that you are just all encompassing of all the wonderful things of the production. Just really, really an honor to work with you.
Oh, well, that's so sweet. Thank you. And but then again, I loved doing the text work for Miss Pemberley, Christmas at Pemberley.
Yeah.
And I was completely thrilled with that results of that. Everybody sounded fantastic. And you, Ellen, blew me away.
Oh,
thanks. The first time you read it, I was like, wow, this girl's amazing. I mean, yeah, I mean, you were great. And I think I only had to give you one note.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think I kept saying cannot, right? And it's
cannot. And you kept saying my lady. My lady.
Right. In Shakespeare in Love. Yes. Yeah.
Yes, in Shakespeare in Love. And I said, no, I think you need to say milady. Yeah.
Milady.
He would say milady. Anyway, yes, and cannot. Yeah. Anyway, but everybody in that show sounded like they were from the same place. It was amazing.
Yeah, that is a great feat for a show with that
Yeah.
big of a cast.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah. Anyway.
Well, I'm looking at the clock, and sadly, we are running out of time. But
Okay.
it has been so lovely talking to you, and I know we'll have you back. Hopefully, when things are moving and the theaters are starting to open up, we would love to talk to you again. And
oh my God, I can't
check in
wait.
on you. Yeah, yeah.
Cannot wait.
We're
Can't
with
wait.
you on that.
It was great to talk to you guys.
You too.
Nice
So
to
good
see
to
you.
see you.
Yeah. Be well. Be
You
safe.
too. And our listeners as well. Everyone hang in there. We're all in this together. Reach out to us, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Let us know what's going on in your life, and we'll keep talking to you every week.
Stay connected. That's the key. Kevin, thank you.
Welcome.
And
Pleasure.
I'm Benita Zahn.
I'm Ellen Cribbs. We'll catch you next time.